All right. So in this video, we're going to talk about enterprise structure. What's an enterprise structure? An enterprise structure represents the physical structure of the company. The first thing that we have to do is set up the company. So as soon as I start my coffee shop, what I'm going to do is call my accountant, give him the name of my company, and give him my address, and ask him to register it with the government as a company. So say Chicago Accounting is going to register my company as Siva Coffee Company Incorporated at this address, blah, 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 Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. And going forward, all accounting should be done under the Siva Coffee Company Incorporated. The reason why we do that is so that the government can get its tax. What we're trying to do here is establish the structure of the company. So outside of SAP, in general parlance, this is called as a company, or it's also called as an entity. Sometimes it's called as a legal entity. In SAP, it's called as the company code. So a company code in SAP is what legal entity is outside of SAP. So the company code in SAP is the equivalent of a legal entity in the real world. So let's create the company code in SAP. Go to Tools, IMG, and click on SPRO. What is this transaction, SPRO? This is probably the most used transaction for an SAP functional consultant. So all along, we have been doing transactions like creation of purchase order, goods receipt, invoice receipt, so on and so forth. They were all examples of end user transactions. But SPRO is where we go under the hood of SAP and start to customize the way SAP works. All right, so let's go to SAP and go to Tools, Customizing, IMG, and SPRO. You can go here all the time or just use the transaction code SPRO. Then click on IMG, SAP reference IMG. And this is everything under the hood. So any kind of customization in SAP is done here. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to create a company code. And creation of a company code is part of enterprise structure. So you go to enterprise structure for that. Where's the enterprise structure? Here. So select that and open that menu. And underneath that, mainly you have two things: definition and assignment. Since we are trying to define the company code, not do some assignment here, open up the definition menu. And then company code is a financial transaction. So it's not going to be under sales or material management. It's going to be under financial accounting. And underneath that, don't go to define company. Instead, go to edit, copy, delete, check company code. The reason is we're not going to define or create our own company code here. Meaning, we're not going to do it from scratch. We're going to copy it from an existing company code. All right. Once you click on that, you get this pop-up. Click on copy, delete, check company code and click on choose, or you can choose to just double click it. And you get this screen. It's a blank screen, but on the top in the menu bar, click on the second button, the one that looks like two pieces of paper. It's a standard icon anytime you want to copy one thing from another. So click on that button. And then if you look at the left bottom corner, you see the system is recording a lot of stuff for you. The system is trying to read a lot of tables. What it's trying to do is it's trying to create a template. And the template for a company code contains a lot of data. So the template that we are going to copy from is company code 3000. Remember, we have already used it to create purchase orders or goods receipts. And we're going to use 3000 because we have done some level of setup in it, like open up material accounting periods, do OB52, set some number ranges, and a whole bunch of stuff. But in a real project, you're going to use company code 0001. It's not even going to have 3000 or 2000 or 1000 company codes. But because this is an IDES system, a test system, it's going to have a whole ton of data. And I have chosen 3000 because 3000 represents US company. So it's going to have all the US relevant GL accounts already pre-configured. So select the from company code as 3000. And what do you want to copy into? Well, we are trying to create a coffee shop and establish a company in the US. So I'm going to call it US01. You could call it US01, US02, 00, or ABCD, whatever you like. And click OK. And you get this pop-up. Do you want to copy the GL accounts? You say yes. And do you want to allocate a different local currency? You say no. From this point on, it's going to throw you a bunch of pop-ups. Just ignore them, hit OK. And this window is called as a customizing request. So anything you do under the hood needs to have a unique ID so that the system knows, or anybody else knows, who has done this change and what exactly is the change. And the way SAP records your change to the system is via customizing request. It's basically a request to customize the system. It's a unique number the system generates against your piece of customization. In this case, we have created a new company code. The system is going to generate a unique number and assign that customization behind the scenes to this unique number. So go ahead and click on the new button. And in this window, you give a description. So what have we done? We have created a company code US01. So just type that in. The reason why we do that is so that somebody down the line wants to know what has happened and who has created this company code. You got it. The system records that as a description. And the system generates a unique number. Hit OK. Again, any warnings or messages that you get, click OK. And finally, you should get this message. Company code 3000 completed to US01. So we have taken the company code template for 3000 and copied it into our own template US01. So what have we done here? I've gone into SPRO, the transaction that's used in SAP to customize, and then gone into enterprise structure, definition, financial accounting, and edit, copy, delete, check company code. And then clicked on the copy button. And we have discussed why we want to copy, right? And then we have selected the source as 3000 and the target as US01. And like I said, if you're doing it in a real project, you're going to copy from 0001 instead of 3000. And then you get a bunch of messages. Click yes for copying GL account data and click no for assigning a new currency. Again, don't worry too much about these options because, like I said, this is an activity that your finance consultant does for you. But since we don't have anybody here to help, we are doing the company code creation as well. And then we have created a transport request and assigned the transport request to this change. And that assigns a unique transport request number and a description to this change. The reason why we do that is so that anybody down the line can track who has created it, at what time, and what exactly is this change.